छठा रोजा कानना कहीं सातमा रोजा दिलना कहीं आठमा रोजा नफ्स का जानो आठमा रोजा नफ्स का जानो नौमा रोजा हाथ पीछानो दसमा रोजा पाँव का धरिए दसमा रोजा पाँव का धरिए सीरथी पाँव रोजा करिए ऐसा रोजा करो तामे जाए
Shukran lillah, walhamdulillah, shukran lillah, walhamdulillah. Welcome to our usual Sunday session of personal search into the spiritual secrets and Batini treasures of the Ismaili Tariqah. And we are so lucky that our Global Lectures administrators and team of volunteers who run this whole show have shown us that very important hadith from Sahih Tirmizi, which Dr. Saib will also mention, and also to accompany it from the Indian tradition of da'wah, which took place after the time of Mawlana Hassan ala Zikrihi Salam, in which the 10 different fasting of the eyes, of the ears, of the tongue, and the last one was with your feet as well, that if you do not go to certain forbidden places, this is your rosa. So this Ginan was giving us the Batini aspect of our tariqah regarding saum or fasting or rosa. But in the Gujarati language, the Z sound is always turned into a J sound, so it would be roja. And this Ginan describes the 10 different types of rosa or roja of all our faculties. Inshallah, some of you will have appreciated the importance of this Ginan. So before we start our session with Dr. Saib, he will lead us in a short supplicatory prayer now to seek the Nurani help of Mawlana Hazir Imam.
Nur Mawlana Shah Rahibul Hussaini Hazir Imam Hasbunallah
ونعم الوكيل ونعم المولى ونعم النصير حسبنا الله ونعم الوكيل ونعم المولى ونعم النصير حسبنا الله ونعم الوكيل ونعم المولى ونعم النصير نصير الحي القيوم نصير الحي القيوم نصير الحي القيوم
إلهي چاره بیچار إلهي رحمتي بربندگان إلهي رحمت دریای آمس وزنجا قطري بارات ولهداري بیش از کوهی الوان گناہ از بندہ وہ حفظ خداوند خداوندہ سعادت یار امام ز رحمت یک نظر درکار امام یا اکرم الاکرمین یا ارحم الراحمین یا نور مولانا شاہ
رحیم الحسینی حاضر
امام مومنین مومنات، قربان آپ سب کی پاکیزہ روحوں سے، اور اسلام کا جو دین ہے، حضرت مولانا سلطان محمد شاہ علیہ السلام فرماتے ہیں کہ خدا نے اپنا دین کن کے لیے بھیجا؟ جن کے اندر عقل غریزی انیٹ انٹلیکٹ سمجھنے کے قابل ہو گئی ہے، اور انٹلیکٹ اسلام میں خدا کی سب سے بڑی نعمت ہے۔ ویسے تو خدا کی بہت ساری مخلوقات ہیں، ان میں سے ہر مخلوق کی کوئی نہ کوئی خاص صفت ہے، لیکن عقل انسان کی وہ مخصوص صفت ہے کہ جس کی وجہ سے وہ دوسرے حیوانات سے ممتاز ہے، ڈسٹنگوشڈ ہے۔ اس لیے جب انسان کو ڈیفائن کیا جاتا ہے، جب اس کی تعریف ہوتی ہے، تعریف کے وہ معنی نہیں ہے جو عام اردو یا فارسی میں کہتے ہیں، یہ ایک خاص ٹیکنیکل ٹرم ہے فلسفے کی، لوجک کی، یہ ڈیفینیشن کو کہتے ہیں، یعنی وہ بیان جس سے ایک چیز کی حقیقت کا علم ہو جاتا ہے۔ تو انسان کے لیے کہا گیا ہے الانسان حیوان ناطق، انسان کیا ہے؟ بولنے والا ایک حیوان ہے۔ تو اس لیے خدا نے جب پیغمبروں کے ساتھ اپنا دین بھیجا تو صرف حضرت انسان کے لیے دین بھیجا ہے، جو اس کے کلام کو سمجھ سکیں۔ تو ابھی سب سے پہلے جو موسٹ امپورٹنٹ بات ہے، تو خدا کا دین ہے کیا چیز؟ حقیقت میں خدا کا دین ایک نور ہے، روشنی ہے۔ اس لیے قرآن کریم کا جو باطنی نام ہے اس کا نام کتاب منیر ہے. ایک ایسی کتاب ہے جو نور کی صورت میں ہے. کوئی مادی چیز نہیں ہے، کوئی مٹیریل چیز نہیں ہے. وہ نورانی صورت میں ایک حقیقت ہے. جب خدا کسی کو پیغمبر بنا کر انسانوں کی ہدایت کے لیے بھیجتا ہے تو اس کے دل میں 5 فرشتوں کے ذریعے یہ کتاب منیر ڈالی جاتی ہے. وہ 5 فرشتے کون ہیں؟ سب سے پہلے عقل ہے، عقل کل ہے. اس کے بعد نفس کل ہے. اس کے بعد حضرت اسرافیل ہے. اس کے بعد حضرت میکائیل ہے. اور حضرت میکائیل کے بعد حضرت جبرائیل علیہم السلام ہے. تو آخری درجے میں حضرت جبرائیل علیہ السلام اس نورانی کتاب کو پیغمبر کے دل میں ڈالتا ہے. نورانی ہونے کی وجہ سے، دل میں ڈالنے سے پیغمبر کو تکلیف نہیں ہوتی ہے، بلکہ اس نورانی کتاب کی وجہ سے پیغمبر کا دل روشن ہو جاتا ہے. کیا کہا میں نے؟ اس کتاب کے ڈالنے کی وجہ سے، چونکہ نورانی صورت میں ہے، نورانی صورت میں ہونے کی وجہ سے یہ کتاب دل میں ہونے کے باوجود کسی پیغمبر کو اس سے کوئی درد پیدا نہیں ہوتا ہے، بلکہ اس کی وجہ سے پیغمبر کا دل روشن ہو جاتا ہے. ابھی اسی نور کے لیے ابھی جو روشن ہو رہا ہے، ابھی عام لوگوں کے لیے اس روشن کتاب کا کیا رشتہ ہے، یہ جاننا ضروری ہے. یہ کتاب پیغمبر کے لیے تو ہے، لیکن صرف اپنے پاس رکھنے کے لیے نہیں ہے. یہ انسانوں کی ہدایت کے لیے ہے. ابھی پیغمبر کا کیا کام ہے؟ کہ جس طرح فرشتوں نے پیغمبر کے دل میں نور ڈالا تھا، پیغمبر اس قابل تھا اس نور کو سمجھنے اور برداشت کرنے کے لیے لیکن لوگ اس قابل نہیں تھے کہ یہ پیغمبر یہ نور ان کے دلوں میں بھی ڈال سکے. تو پھر ابھی پیغمبر کا کام کیا ہوتا ہے؟ پیغمبر اس کام کو سمجھانے کے لیے مثالوں سے کام لیتا ہے. مثالوں سے کام لے کر ان کو سمجھاتا ہے. مثلا خدا تک پہنچنے کا جو اصل راستہ ہے وہ ایک نورانی حقیقت ہے، لیکن اس نورانی حقیقت کو سمجھانے کے لیے وہ ایک راستے کی مثال دیتا ہے. ایک راستہ ہے اور یہ راستہ آہستہ 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 بالآخر خدا تک پہنچ سکتا ہے. یا کبھی اس کی مثال سی ڈی سے دیتا ہے، معراج سے دیتا ہے. اس کے بھی کئی پلڑے ہوتے ہیں، سٹیپس ہوتے ہیں. ہوتے ہوتے بالآخر خدا تک پہنچ جاتا ہے. لیکن عجب بات یہ ہے کہ یہ راستہ ظاہری پاؤں سے چلنے کے لیے نہیں ہے کہ لوگوں کے سامنے کوئی ایک راستہ ہو اور اس پر وہ چلتے رہیں اور آخر میں خدا تک پہنچ سکے. ایسی بات نہیں ہے، بلکہ خدا نے جن مثالوں کا ذکر کیا ہے اس کے اندر کیا کیا معانی ہے، وہ معانی الفاظ کے اندر پوشیدہ ہوتے ہیں، ورڈز کے اندر پوشیدہ ہوتے ہیں. ان کو پریکٹیکلی انسان کی روح کو پاک کرنے کے لیے، تقوی اور پرہیزگاری کے لیے کچھ ظاہری اعمال بھی مقرر کیے جاتے ہیں. مثلا صلاۃ ہے، صوم ہے، زکوٰۃ ہے، حج ہے، یہ جتنی ارکان ہے یہ بعد میں ہم اس کا ذکر کریں گے. ان سب کے اندر معانی رکھے گئے ہیں. اور انسان جب ظاہر پر عمل کرتا ہے تو اس کے اندر جو معانی ہے نور کی صورت میں، اس نور کی وجہ سے، یعنی معانی کے سمجھنے کی وجہ سے اس کے اندر آہستہ آہستہ روشنی پیدا ہوتی ہے. وہ روشنی کس طرح پیدا ہوگی؟ اس کے لیے دو چیزیں خدا نے مومنین کے سامنے رکھا ہے اس روشنی کو سمجھانے کے لیے. وہ دو چیزیں کیا ہیں مومنین؟ یہ آیت بہت امپورٹنٹ ہے اور بہت چھوٹی ہے، مہربانی کر کے اس کو یاد کیجئے۔ یہ چھوٹی آیت ہے قد، خاپ اور دال۔ قد جاءکم، قد مانی یقیناً، جاءکم تمہارے پاس آیا ہے، من اللہ خدا کی طرف سے، نور ایک نور، لیکن نور اکیلا نہیں، وہ کتاب مبین، خدا کی طرف سے نور بھی آیا ہے اور روشن کتاب بھی آیا ہے۔ ابھی یہ دو چیزیں ہیں یا ایک چیز ہے؟ نور اور کتاب مبین پیغمبر کے لیے ایک ہی چیز ہے، لیکن امت کے لیے یہ ایک نہیں، ایک سے دو ہو جاتی ہیں۔ ایک جو ہے، جو نور ہے، وہ پیغمبر ہے، اور کتاب مبین جو جو پیغمبر نے نور کی صورت میں یہ کتاب جو امت کے لیے لایا ہے، یہ ظاہر میں نور نہیں ہے، ظاہر میں کاغذ کی صورت میں ہے، یا کاغذ کوئی اور بھی چیز تھی پیغمبر کے زمانے میں، کوئی لکھنے کی چیز ہوتی ہے جس کو قلم کہتے ہیں، وہ جس پر لکھا جاتا ہے اس کو کاغذ کہیں یا تختی کہیں، کچھ بھی کہیں۔ پیغمبر جب فرماتا تھا وہ خود نور تھا، اور فرمانے سے جو الفاظ بنتے تھے اس کا نام کتاب رکھا گیا ہے۔ تو مومنین، آپ دیکھ لیجئے کہ دین کا اصل مقصد کیا ہے۔ دین کا اصل مقصد اس نور کو پانا ہے، اور یہ ڈائریکٹلی ممکن نہیں عام انسان کے لیے۔ انہوں نے پرہیزگاری اور تقوی سے کام نہیں لیا ہے، اور یہ دین، خدا کا دین جو ہے، ان روحوں کو پاکیزہ کر کے نورانی بنانے کے لیے ہے۔ تو قربان جائیے، ابھی آپ کو معلوم ہوا کہ دین کے اندر ایک باطن ہے اور ایک ظاہر ہے۔ شروع میں ظاہر پر عمل کرنا ہوتا ہے، اور ظاہر پر عمل کرتے کرتے آگے بڑھ جاتے ہیں، تو ان کے اندر بھی، مومنین کے اندر بھی آہستہ آہستہ روشنی نکلنے لگتی ہے۔ لیکن دل کے اندر جو روشنی ہے وہ ظاہری روشنی کی طرف نہیں ہے، ان کے دل میں خوشی اور شادمانی ہوتی ہے، ان کے دل کے اندر امام کے بارے میں، پیغمبر کے بارے میں، ان کے نور کے بارے میں سوالات پیدا ہوتے ہیں، تو اس کے پاس اتنا پختہ نالج، علم ہو گیا ہے کہ پہلے وہ اپنے آپ کو اچھی طرح سے سمجھاتے ہیں، ان کو خود اطمینان ہوتا ہے کہ میں جس دین کو فالو کرتا ہوں، جس دین پر میں چلتا ہوں، عمل کرتا ہوں یا کرتی ہوں، وہ دین سچا ہے، لوجیکلی اس کے اندر کوئی کمزوری نہیں ہے، کہ کوئی ایسا نہیں ہے کہ کہے کہ تمہارا یہ بات جو ہے illogical ہے، بلکہ لوجک کے لیول سے لے کر اوپر تک تمام چیزیں سسٹمیٹیکلی اس کے اندر روشن ہو جاتی ہے، اس سینس میں روشن ہو جاتی ہے۔ تو قربان جائے، تو اندر کا جو حصہ ہے اس کو باطن کہتے ہیں، اور اوپر جو الفاظ ہیں اس کو ظاہر کہتے ہیں۔ اور پیغمبر نے کیا فرمایا؟ پیغمبر فرماتے ہیں کہ قرآن کے جو الفاظ ہیں اس کے دو حصے ہیں، ایک تو لفظ ہے جو یا عربی میں ہوگا یا عبرانی میں ہوگا یا سریانی میں ہوگا، بہت سے پیغمبر آئے ہیں، ان زبانوں کے اندر جو پیغمبر کو ملا تھا وہ نورانی صورت میں ملا تھا، جب انہوں نے بیان کیا تو ظاہری صورت میں مختلف زبانوں میں بیان کیا۔ تو یہ دین کا ایسنس ہے، دین کا جوہر ہے، کہ خدا نے انسان کے لیے نور بھیجا، پیغمبر تک صرف نورانی صورت میں ہے، وہاں سے جب آشکار ہوتا ہے، باہر نکلتا ہے، زبان سے بیان کرتا ہے، تو اس کی دو پوزیشنیں ہیں، ایک تو نور ہے جو خود پیغمبر کے اندر ہے، اس لیے کہ خدا کا نور اس کے دل کے اندر ہے، وہ بیان کرتا ہے، اس بیان کو تنزیل کہتے ہیں، اس بیان کو تنزیل کہتے ہیں۔ تنزیل کے معنی ہے اوپر سے نیچے اترنا، اوپر سے نیچے اترنا۔ اس کا کیا مطلب ہے؟ ایسا نہیں کہ یہ بھی کوئی فزیکل چیز ہو، اوپر سے نیچے جو ہے ہم نیچے اتر رہے ہیں۔ جو لطیف چیز ہے، جو نورانی چیز ہے، اس سے نیچے جو الفاظ ہیں آپ سمجھ لیجئے کہ الفاظ جو ہیں وہ زمین کی طرح ہیں، اور اندر جو معانی ہیں وہ آسمان کی طرح ہیں۔ اس سینس میں کہ پیغمبر پیغمبر کے دل میں جو نور ہے، اس کو جب الفاظ میں پیغمبر بیان کرتا ہے تو وہ نور جو ہے وہ الفاظ کے اندر پوشیدہ ہوتا ہے، چھپا ہوتا ہے۔ اور اس لیے قرآن کے ہر لفظ کے اندر پیغمبر نے فرمایا کہ ہر لفظ کے اندر 7 معانی ہے، 7 باطن ہے۔ یہ ایک روایت کے مطابق یہ 7 ہیں۔ قرآن کے ہر ظاہری لفظ ہے، اس کے اندر 7 معنی ہے۔ ایک دوسری روایت کے مطابق 70 معنی ہے۔ ہمارے امامان برحق میں سے مولانا جعفر صادق علیہ السلام کے سلسلے میں قاضی نعمان نے، سیدنا قاضی نعمان نے ایک فرمان کا ذکر کیا ہے۔ فرمان کس طرح ہے؟ یہ جس کتاب میں ذکر کیا اس کا نام ہے اساس التاویل۔ اس میں لکھتے ہیں کہ کوئی ایک مرید مولانا جعفر صادق کے نزدیک پہنچا۔ مرید نے مولانا سے درخواست کی قرآن کی ایک آیت کی تاویل بیان کرنے کے لیے۔ مولانا نے اس کے لیے ایک تاویل بتائی۔ کچھ عرصے کے بعد دوبارہ مولا کے پاس جاتا ہے اور اسی آیت کی تاویل پوچھتا ہے۔ مولا نے اس کو ایک اس سے مختلف تاویل بتائی۔ اس نے عرض کیا کہ ہاں مولا، پہلی مرتبہ جب میں نے پوچھا تھا آپ نے ایک دوسری تاویل بتائی تھی، آج یہ دوسری تاویل آپ فرما رہے ہیں۔ مولا نے کیا فرمایا؟ مولا نے فرمایا اے میرے بندے، تم میرے پاس 70 مرتبہ آؤ گے تو میں آپ کو 70 الگ الگ تاویلات بتا دوں گا۔ اور آخر میں یہ جملہ بہت امپورٹنٹ ہے۔ مولا فرماتے ہیں وَلَوْ اسْتَزَادَنَا لَزِدْنَا، 70 سے بھی زیادہ معنی یعنی تاویلات مجھ سے پوچھو گے تو میں 70 سے بھی زیادہ آپ کو معنی دے سکتا ہوں۔ یہ اماموں کی شان ہوتی ہے۔ پیغمبر کے اندر جو نور ہے وہ امام کے ساتھ ساتھ آ رہا ہے، اور ہر زمانے میں انسانوں کی جو ترقی ہوتی ہے اسی کے لحاظ سے اس کی جو ریکوائرمنٹس ہیں، تقاضے ہیں، ان کے مطابق امام ان کو تاویلات فرماتے ہیں. تو قربان جائیں تو یہ شریعت کی تعلیم ہوئی ہے. اور آپ دیکھتے ہیں کہ مولا الگ الگ تعویلات دیتے ہیں. یہ نہیں کہ یہ مولا کنٹرڈکٹ کر رہے ہیں خود کو، کوئی تضاد کی بات کر رہے ہیں، ایسی بات نہیں ہے. یہ درجات کی بات ہے. اس لیے آپ دیکھیں گے کہ مولانا علی کی جو کچھ تعویلات ہے، حضرت مولانا سلطان محمد شاہ علیہ السلام کی تعویل پڑھے، آپ کو حیرت ہوگی. خواتین کے بارے میں مولانا علی فرماتے ہیں کہ خواتین میں 3 چیزیں ایسی ہیں جن کی وجہ سے وہ مردوں سے کم ہیں. یہ نوٹ کیجئے، مرتضی علی کی تعویل ہے. مولانا سلطان محمد شاہ کیا فرماتے ہیں؟ فرماتے ہیں کہ ماں کا درجہ باپ سے بہت اوپر ہے. سب سے پہلے ماں 9 مہینے تک یا کم و زیادہ بچے کو اپنے پیٹ میں لیے پھرتی ہے، اور جب دنیا میں آتا ہے، بیمار ہو، کوئی اور تکلیف ہو، تو ماں کی کتنی تکلیف ہوتی ہے اور کتنا اس کا خیال رکھنا پڑتا ہے. تو آپ دیکھ رہے ہیں کہ 2 اماموں کے اندر کہ فرامین یا تعویل کے اندر فرق ہے. یہ فرق اس لیے نہیں ہے کہ امام جو ہے ایک فرمان کو دوسرا امام رد کرتا ہے، ایسی بات نہیں ہے. بلکہ دنیا کے اندر انسان کی ترقی ہوتی ہے، اس ترقی کے لحاظ سے اماموں کے فرامین ہوتے ہیں. یہاں تک کہ مولانا سلطان محمد شاہ نے فرمایا، میں نے اپنی 70 سالہ امامت کے دوران ایک فرمان کو 70 مرتبہ بدل دیا ہے، چینج کیا ہے. تو قربان جائے، یہ ظاہر اور باطن میں اتنا فرق ہے. تو آج یہ پیراگراف تک ہم ذرا سٹاپ کریں گے، اور انشاءاللہ مولا کا حکم ہوا، کیونکہ اس کی کیا امپورٹنس ہے. جب تک ہم اپنے دین کے بارے میں کلی طور پر مطمئن نہ ہوں کہ جس دین پر میں عمل کر رہا ہوں یہ برحق دین ہے، یہ خدا کے نور کا دین ہے، تو پھر انسان کی عبادت بندگی جو ہے بہت ہی کمزور ہو جاتی ہے. صرف 2 باتیں یہاں میں عرض کر رہا ہوں. ایک حقیقت ہے، حقیقت جو ہمارے اماموں کی تعلیم ہے اسی کے اوپر چلنا ہے. ایک مصلحت ہے، یعنی انسان کی سراؤنڈنگ میں جو چیزیں ہوتی ہیں ان کے ساتھ بھی خود کو ایڈجسٹ کرنا ہے. دونوں اپنی اپنی جگہ پر صحیح ہے. تو انشاءاللہ اس کے بعد جو ہے مزید جو صلاۃ ہے، صوم ہے، دوسری چیزیں ہیں، اس کے بارے میں کچھ مزید باتیں باقی ہیں. پہلے اس کے بارے میں ہمیں تسلی ہونی چاہیے کہ ہمارے اماموں نے کیسی تعلیم دی ہے.
So, okay. All right. Dr. Sabi started in his usual way of saying that may we be sacrificed for the pure souls of all those of you who are searching for the truth and the hakikat of our faith, because to do that is something very commendable. God has sent his religion, according to the Memoirs, chapter 8. Mawlana Sultan Shah says that God sends his religion to those human beings who are intellectually capable of understanding deen. And we all know from our Faramin of Maulana Shah Karim and of Hazir Imam now that intellect is God's greatest gift to humankind. If you look around in creation, all other species amongst the creatures of God, they have special characteristics. But human beings are distinguished from all the rest of the creatures by their possession of the intellect, of the akal. And therefore, human beings are defined. If somebody says, can you define what a human being is? Then in Arabic, they are called al-insanu hayawan natik, which hayawanun natik, which means that a human being is a speaking animal, or speech comes from rationality, so a speaking or rational animal. And so it is for these human beings. If you look at the stories of all the prophets, they were sent to communities, they were sent to human beings. So the first important question which arises is, what is deen, or God's religion? What is it? In reality, it is a light, a nur. It is an illumination, which is why the Batini name of the Holy Quran is Kitab-e Munir. And there are several verses in the Quran which use this term, Kitab-e Munir, a luminous book, a book which is in the form of a light. It is not in any physical or material sense. So when God sends a prophet for human beings' guidance, what does he do? He sends the revelation of this book through 5 great angels. And these 5 great angels reveal this light to the prophet's heart. These 5 angels are starting at the top. The universal intellect sends the message to the universal soul. From the universal soul, Israfil brings it to Hazrat Mikhail, and Hazrat Mikhail hands it off.
Israfil.
Yes, Hazrat Israfil gives it to Hazrat Mikhail, and Hazrat Mikhail to Hazrat Jibrail, which is why this is very common knowledge that the Hazrat Jibrail brought the message to the prophet's heart. He is the final angel in these 5 intermediaries. And this luminous book in the prophet's heart is in the form of a light. Now, the next question is, what is the relationship of people to this luminous book which is with the prophets? We know that this book is for the sake of the guidance of human beings. And therefore, what does the prophet do? Prophet knows that all human beings cannot receive this light as he did in the luminous form. They are not capable of doing that. Therefore, the prophet uses similitudes and examples to teach people. For example, the prophet used the term sirat or sirat al-mustaqim. The path to God is a luminous path, but the prophet gives the example of a worldly or a physical path, because it has stages. It is not the same from A to Z. It has stages, and in Islam, it is known that Sirat al-Mustaqim starts with Shariat and then continues with Tariqat, Hakikat, and then finally Ma'rifat. And sometimes he used the example of Mi'raj, a ladder. a ladder to ascend, but again the ladder has rungs or stages. So the path or the ladder, they are not for us to either physically walk on them or physically climb on them in order to reach God. It is the meanings which are hidden in the examples which can be attained through certain actions, such as salat, zakat, som, etc., which he will elaborate on in another session. When human beings act on the zahiri actions with meanings, then gradually the light is created in their own hearts as well. And for this, Dr. Saib has, this has been repeated so often. I'm sure that many of you now know this very short ayat in Surah 5, ayat 15, قَدْ جَاءَكُم مِّنَ اللَّهِ نُورٌ وَكِتَابٌ مُبِينٌ, that indeed from Allah has come light and a manifest book. For the Prophet, this is not two things, it is one thing. But for the Ummah, the community, it is definitely two things, the Prophet and the book. Because when the Prophet spoke those Nurani words which were in his heart, in his soul, then those words were actually scribed. They were written down with letters and phrases and words, and they, on either paper or animal skin or papyrus, whatever the material, that is when they attained a physical form. So when the Prophet speaks, it is still Nur, but when it is recorded, then it becomes material words and a material book. So we ask, Dr. Saib then asks the question, what is the purpose of Deen? The purpose of Deen is to attain the Nur which is in this book, not to be stuck to its Zahiri words. And this Nur, which is what we all need to attain, cannot be attained directly. This can only be done when there is a living guide present to purify human beings' souls so that they become capable of receiving this Nur which the Prophet received. So how will it be? Will it be like a bulb coming alight? No. In a moment's heart, the the nur will be experienced in the form of an inner happiness. It will be experienced in the form of a knowledge about their faith. Their understanding about their faith will deepen and increase. There will be tremendous satisfaction that they are indeed following the true religion, and they will be confident that there is no logical weakness in their faith. That is the type of nur which a Mu'min receives after following the guidance of the prophets and Imams. So Dr. Saib explains that the meaning is called the Batin and the words are called the Zahir. And we have used this terminology a lot in our Zoom sessions. The Prophet has said that the Quran, the words of the Quran have two aspects. The the words are the Tanzil, and they are in the different languages of the different communities to which the different prophets had come.
Tanzir or Zahir.
Yeah, so they are called Tanzir or Zahir, or in English we call that exoteric. And the meaning which contains the light is called the Ta'wil. And the Tanzil descends from high to low, not in a physical sense, but in the sense that that subtle luminous form, when it takes on a physical form, it becomes dense. And this is why the Prophet had said that for every word of the Quran, there is one Zahir but 7 Batins. And in another hadith, he had said that there are 70 meanings. And about Mawlana Jafar Sadiq, it is recorded by Sayyidina Qazi al-Nauman that
Sasu Tawil.
Sayyidina Qazi Nauman's book is called Asasut Tawil, in which he narrates a story about a murid who comes to Maulana Jafar Sadiq and requests for a ta'wil of a particular verse of the Quran. And Maula gives him a meaning. He goes away. 1 week later, he comes back with the same Quranic ayat and requests for a meaning. Mullah gives him another different meaning. And the Mu'min is very surprised. And he says, Mullah, last week you gave me this meaning. This week you are giving me this meaning. So Mullah said to him that if you come to me 70 times, I will give you 70 ta'wils. And then Mullah added in Arabic, of course, وَاللَّهُ إِسْتَزَادْنَا لَزِدْنَا, which means I can give you many more ta'wils than this 70. So that is the scope of the Imam's knowledge, and that is the scope of the Holy Quran. That, it is a final revelation. We are always saying the Quran is a final revelation of God, so it is going to be there until the end of time. So how many meanings must there be to cover all these years and centuries in which there will be so much human progress as well? So we have to understand that Mullah gives moments different meanings according to that moment's progress and understanding. It is not a contradiction, but it is in accordance with the moment's level or the Jamaat's level. So he gave us an example that if you compare, if you have done some research and you have come across Maulana Ali's statement about women, and then compare that 1400 years later with the words of Maulana Sultan Muhammad Shah, you will be most amazed, because Maulana Ali has said that women in Islam they are considered weaker because they have three characteristics. Number one, that they have the menstrual cycle and they have childbirth. Number two, that you require two women witnesses, whereas only one man. And then women receive half the inheritance that men receive. So those are the weaknesses of women. But when it comes to Maulana Sultan Shah's time, what does he say? He says that women are superior because they are able to bear a double burden. Not only can they carry and deliver a child, but they can also be earning their own living at the same time. So this is very high praise for women compared to what Maulana Ali had said. But we should not think that this is contradictory. We should know that time has passed on 1400 years, and therefore there is bound to be difference in this type of guidance. And then he also remembered, and he said that Maulana Sultan Shah had said in his Farman that during the 70 years of my imamat, I have changed one Farman 70 times. And that is the pride of Ismailis, that our guidance is according to the time. We live according to the time. And time is changing, as we all notice so much. So the reason for taking this topic on in the middle of our dua sessions is that Dr. Saib wants to ensure that unless we are totally satisfied that our deen is the true one, then it cannot give us the happiness and the satisfaction from our rites and practices, which, otherwise would be the case. That we really need to know that our faith is true, logical, and that it changes with the time. And these changes have a double aspect. One is the hakikat, the real reason why change happens, but one of them in history we have seen is what in very
Maslahat.
in Urdu is a very good word, maslahati. which means to act according to your environmental circumstances, that you have to practice taqiya, in other words,
Yes.
precautionary secrecy. So these sessions which we are having on the Zahir and the Batin, and the fact that Ismaili Talimat is changing. We have just recently heard from the Imam of the time that gradually he is going to instruct the Tariqa boards to bring about certain changes. He has already made some changes, and that is the trademark, that is the brand of the Ismaili Tariqa. Okay. So we shall stop there, and then we can invite questions, because I'm sure there will be many questions on this subject. Every year in the month of Ramadan, we have the same questions from different members of the Jamaat. So we have the chat is open now, and also you can raise your hands if you like, yeah? Yes, one hand is up. Yes, Shamira?
Yeah, Alima, that's wonderful session. From my understanding, is it that when the Quran was given to Prophet Muhammad, my understanding was that the angel came and said, read. But to be honest, it was about the light rather than having to read the actual phrases.
Yes, you're quite right, Shamira, that when we hear in the wars or read that the angel said read, and it's in the Quran as ikra, yes?
Yeah.
So you think that the Prophet was actually reading like a book, but that's not the case. He was reading the Nurani letters. The letters themselves were made up of Nur.
Okay. That makes a lot of sense. One more thing, when Dr. Saib gave two examples at the end, I kind of just didn't quite understand the two examples that much, please.
Which examples?
At the end, there were two, it was about hakikat.
Yes. No, he has not elaborated.
Okay.
So what this will be elaborated in the next lecture, okay?
Okay. Thank you.
Please don't hesitate. This is your chance to ask and to know, what is a Ismaili way of understanding the Quran and why we don't do certain things which others do. What is the reason for that? We should know ourselves very clearly, and not only know, we should feel capable of articulating. Okay. Yes. Can we give this reference? Do you remember which Farman it is? Kalam Imam Mubin, the 70 times I have changed.
So, no session में जो है वो
Yeah.
निकाल कर तैयार
Yes,
कर लीजिए.
okay. We'll have it ready for the next session. Okay, Salma? Give you the exact reference, yeah?
Yes, thank you very much. Thank you.
Yes, Samina?
Yeah, Limadat, Very
Allah.
nice session.
Mhm.
I just have something that has been coming to my mind when I'm attending Khane lately. Um, we used to prostrate in the first part of dua and every part of dua, and we'd raise our hands during certain parts of the dua. But I noticed that a lot of people, maybe people sitting next to me or in front of me, sometimes you get distracted and open your eyes. But anyway, I've been noticing, I understand we are at the hakikati phase of our faith. We have evolved, but I just wonder, is what is the reason that we are not doing what we're supposed to do when we are saying our dua? Can you please help me? I'll appreciate that. Thank you.
Okay, can you just elaborate a little bit? So, according to you, what should we be doing during dua?
No, when we are doing the end, let's say end of the first part of dua, we prostrate. We are doing Allahumma laka sujudi wa
Yes,
tati.
yes.
I don't see this being done. I
Okay.
don't see. I understand also when the ginans are being recited, we have Pir Mabap's name. Nobody or hardly any people are putting their hands and saying the salwat.
Mm.
I don't know. I guess I'm older.
Mm.
Just wondering if I'm not
Yes.
following the phase
Okay.
that we have reached. I understand the phase, but I'm just wondering what is the right way about it.
Yes, yes, okay. Yeah, no, when we are taught as children to recite the dua, we should be taught that, you have to keep your eyes closed. And when the Allahumma laka sujudi comes, you should prostrate, bend down, or touch the ground if there is room. In some Jamaat Khanas, this is not physically possible. So we can excuse people are sitting so close up they can't do the full prostration, but at least they can bend their upper bodies, yeah. And then in certain parts you have to raise your hands because this is a dua, like Allahumma ya Mawlana anta salam,
Yes, yes,
etc. This
yes.
is all of this is actually flagging up the fact that we don't feel as Ismailis, born Ismailis, we think that we are born with knowledge. That's not the case. We are not born with knowledge. We also have to learn. And there are people in the Jamaat who think that you have to teach your children all worldly things. We do things like potty training and language learning and all that, but that we don't need to do anything for our faith, right? This is not the case. I think all of us, this is, everybody working together because the community is made up of so many diverse opinions and there are so many ways of thinking, but we all have to understand that the meaning of Jama'at is to be one, not only physically doing things together, but to be one soul. Then we can feel the spiritual power of the Jama'at. Okay? Or
Same. Also, same. I don't know if I'm still muted or. Can you hear me?
no, I couldn't at that point. Yes, now I can hear you. No, I think you're muted now, maybe. Okay,
How?
for
Can you hear me?
yes, I can hear you now.
Okay. So another thing also I've noticed when we receive Mola Bapa's talika and the person reciting the talika will say Salvat, Salvat
Ji.
Paro, and hardly any people are doing that. You don't even see them moving their hand
Mm.
to put it around the face, like out of
Yes,
respect.
yes,
Um, and the same when talika is over and
yes,
Mubaraki,
yes,
uh, Talika ni Mubaraki, or we have Kushyali and
yes,
Mubaraki. We were taught to say, Sahib Ji Salamati, and
yes.
nobody is saying nothing, nothing. You don't hear nothing.
Yeah, I think it's in some Jamaats, but in some Jamaats, Alhamdulillah, people really behave as a Jama'ah.
The Dallas Carrollton Jamaat Khana, it is a beautiful atmosphere, fantastic. During the prayer time, I think I give them 10 out of 10. Really, really good.
Inshallah, let us pray, and also where we can explain to people how one should be in Jamaat Khana. What is the etiquette of being in a Jamaat Khana? Yes.
This is the basic. Mola Bapa has given us this dua, and if we cannot prostrate when his name is being given, he is the Imam have sacrificed their lives for us.
Yes.
And we were so poor. We had families of 10 with 1 pound of meat between 10 people, and hardly any money to give the school fees or to put food on the table, just like this happening today. But thank God, Mola Bapa guided and brought us to where we are. 3 cars in the driveway, big mansions,
Yes.
air conditioning, whatever we want in our hand, in the iPhone, you can get whatever you want. Shukr, alhamdulillah. So why can we not
with all this
prostrate?
material plenty, there's always a tendency to now let the spiritual side be secondary. So that is a very big test for human beings.
Really,
Not to
really
let the
bothers me.
materialism
Really bothers
erode
me.
their religious values. Religious values are very important for our soul because only our soul is eternal. Yeah.
You see them going to do Dwakaravi, same thing, hardly even, come on, do you understand where you are? Do you understand what you've come to do and how lucky we are to be forgiven? Oh my goodness, Mola help us all. I'm so sorry. I've been wanting to ask
I can
this.
see that you have strong feelings. I would
Yes.
suggest to you that, you should share this information with your friends and family and let everybody talk about it so that there's increasing awareness. Okay, now
Yes,
if you look
thank
at
you.
other things on
Thank
the
you.
screen. Thank you. Okay, we have the Kalam Imam Mubin reference for this Farman. It is Bombay 1950. It's in volume 2 and it's on page 491. Okay? All right. Riaz Karim Khalki says that, Yalima Dr. Sahib, I have a confusion, if you please clear it. If 2 persons claim imamat at the same time, how to choose the righteous imam?
Okay, for the previous Imam, which we have the 2 terms, Imam is Sabiq and Imam is Lahir. The Sabiq Imam has to do Nas. Then whoever has the Nas, he is the rightful Imam.
Exactly. So, Riaz, did you understand that we have to see which one of them has the Nas designation by the previous Imam? That's the way it is decided about who is the righteous Imam and the true successor of the previous Imam. Okay. Yes, there's a comment on the previous question that we had discussion that thank you for speaking up. We don't value our Imam in faith. Yes, I hope that, inshallah, there will be more awareness through such sessions because our whole aim is to help us to understand our faith, to understand the reality of the Imam and what should be a Momin or a Momina's attitude and behavior and searching for knowledge, etc. Yeah? Yes, true. Yes, I agree with you, Fatima, that it is the parents who have to teach these things. But I think the parents have abdicated their responsibility. They think that because their children go to Baitul Ilms, that the teachers in the voluntary teachers in the Baitul Ilm will teach all this. But it's not possible in 1.5, 2 hours a week to teach a whole syllabus as well as all this side of it. And so I think you are absolutely right that, there are many parents groups in Jamaats, one should bring it up to them and say that, don't abdicate your responsibility, yeah? It is the parents who have to teach this adab, this attitude and behavior in Jamaat Khana. Okay. Any more questions? Yeah. Yes. But, yeah. This Shahnaz is saying that the council tells them strictly not to correct the child. How far can you justify that? If a child hits another child without any provocation, should we accept that? So I don't think that, this type of a statement is helpful. And I think we need to talk about this in the Jamaat. Jamaat has to give feedback to the Amaldars, to the Mukhi Kamadiyas. We are all responsible for what happens in the Jamaat because we are part of the Jamaat, yeah? Okay. So the Akal level, how can the Akal get knowledge? Minna, I'm not sure what you mean by that, yeah? Can you clarify? Yes, okay. All right. Mm. Mm. Yes, inside the prayer hall. It's true. It's true that seems to be this wrong understanding that if you teach somebody the proper conduct, that they will stop coming to Khane. That's not really logical, is it, right? There are children in Britain who do multi-faith syllabuses, who visit synagogues and churches and mandirs, etc. Then they come to Jamaat Khana, and do you know what they comment? They say, in all these other places, there is pin drop silence. How come we are making so much noise? This is the children themselves making this comment, right? Mm. And what has Mawlana Hazir Imam been saying? These are places of serenity, tranquility, well-being, calm. Can you have calm and well-being when there's noise like a market? No, I don't think we are understanding Imam's words. Okay, thank you, Mina. Uh, um, okay. Okay, there are several things, about adab, right? It's amazing. Today, somehow, everybody's writing about etiquette and adab. We are not, I don't think anybody is being judgmental, I found. And yeah, first and foremost, we should focus on ourselves and our own behavior. And you're saying that many people use tasbih in the, then, you should know maybe the Jamaat that you have mentioned, they probably do not know the adab of the Baitul Khayal because they didn't have Baitul Khayal in their own country, maybe. So find out and, give them feedback, okay? And help them to understand, okay? Mina, now you have clarified your question that, if someone is not intelligent, it's very hard to learn. Yeah, Mina, we are not talking about IQ here, right? Every human being has enough intellect, and according to the Ismaili writings, this intellect wants to learn. That is why when children start learning to speak, the first things they do is they ask how, why, what, when. Have you noticed that? What does that tell you? That tells you that it is not a case of being intelligent. It's a case of having an intellect which has been given to human beings in order to learn. And so that is something different from memorizing and the ability to memorize information. That, of course, you have to train your brain to do that. But
Innate है ना, innate.
yes, you are born with this intellect, this natural gift from God, unless, and it is a very, very small minority, you are born with a mental problem that is, that deprives you of intellect, okay? All right. Yes. Yes, Shalina, yes, if you go to the Baya, it is actually, parents are told by the Mukhi Kamariyas that, yes, it is important for them to bring their children up properly in the faith, yeah. Okay. Yes, absolutely. It's good to know that Jamaat is reading Imam's latest farmans. Yes, yes, we are all born with Mawlana Shah Rahim here in London has said that we are all born with capacities, abilities, and we should make the most of them. We are not blank, right? Mm. I think, Shamira, did you have something else to clarify? Because there were so many things here, I couldn't come back to you.
Yeah, if I can go back to the question somebody asked about, no, if there are two imams, two people, or two imams wanting to be and you talked about nurse, and I just wondered what that meant. For example, here, if Molana has an imam today, and then there would have been somebody else saying that he's the imam too, Ali Muhammad maybe. So how do we differentiate that then?
Yeah, the case in point is that of Maulana Shah Karim when he became an imam.
Yeah.
There were a couple of groups, one in Pakistan that claimed that Prince Amin Muhammad should be the imam, right?
Oh,
And Prince Amin Muhammad wrote them a letter through the council saying, I'm not the imam, my brother is the imam, because it was in the will. And the same would apply to Maulana Shah Karim. It's in the will that Shah Rahim is the 50th Imam. That is the meaning of Nas. Okay?
yeah. And the other thing is to tell certain groups not to use tasbih during Bangi. There are issues that crop up in Jamaat Khana because they don't like being told that that's not, in Bangi time, not to use tasbih. It's very delicate, put it that way.
Yes, it is delicate. It's no doubt because, everybody thinks they live in democratic countries, so they have right to their opinion, right? But we
Absolutely.
need to be a Jamaat. We are a spiritual family. We are made up of brothers and sisters, right? So spiritual brothers and sisters help each other in more than one way. And one way is to tell people in a very nice way, in a very private way. You
Yeah.
don't have to make a big show of it, and to say that, during Ibadat, we are supposed to only focus on the word without any outward sign, right?
Yeah.
If
But
it
I
is
think
personal,
however
जाने की
privately
कोशिश
you
हो
tell
रही है.
somebody, they do take it as they get offended. Even if you just not in front of people, just take them on one side and mention it. But I guess it's just sooner or later maybe it will come to them, inshallah.
Inshallah, inshallah. Let us hope, yeah?
Yeah. Thank you again.
उसका क्या कहते हैं?
नहीं, इसमें बंदगी में फिजिकल एस्पेक्ट को भूल जाने की
Yes,
कोशिश
yes.
हो रही
But
है.
क्योंकि कुछ मजालिस में 5 मिनट 10 मिनट होती है ना,
हाँ,
so people forget, right? Paroli, they don't use tasbih, right? Let's
Oh,
hope.
even in Parori, some people use it.
Okay,
Absolutely, yes.
okay. It's really, that shows what a lot of scope there is for improving the information level of our Jamaat, yeah? And we all have a part to play in it. And sometimes people will not be happy with you. And most of the time, I think they will be happy, yeah? Fatima, you have your hand up?
Yali Madan Mama, Yali Madan Dr. Saib, Dastapavasi. I just wanted to say that partly the problem arises because Baitul Khayal has been kept so private. Even the farmans are not available publicly. So every time somebody says method of doing bandagi, everybody just assumes that it's your own personal way, the way you think bandagi should be done. Or some people actually YouTube on how to do the meditation. So it kind of differs on person to person, definition wise. If we had a particular method or procedure available formally from either Itrab Council or even Jamaat Khana, maybe it would have been easier for us to guide them. But every time I personally, even if I try to communicate that with um, Mukhi Sahibans or anyone, they just look at me as if I have three heads. So it kind of not just depends on us as knowledge seekers, but I don't know how to communicate it further. That can somebody please elaborate this to general Jamaat, not just general Jamaat in Jamaat Khana, but at least in Baitul Khiyal, that there is a certain way of doing things.
Yes. Yes, you're absolutely right. When you talk about farmans, though, there will be a problem with languages unless somebody has already translated them. But, Ruhani Ras, a collection of farmans of Mawlana Sultan Shah called Ruhani Ras, are about soul and ibadat, etc. Maybe that book should be available, right? And that would help people to understand that we have to forget our bodies completely, right? And we have to transport or transfer ourselves into another world, right? Yeah. And the Khangi Farmans are also available. Somebody here has pointed that out on iPhone. And it's true, the Khangi Farmans of Baitul Khayal are available. Okay. Yes, and then you are pointing out the differences between different Tariqa boards, right? So we do have diversity of approaches all over the world, right? Well, it's good that we are talking about Jamaat Khana and our rights and practices and Baitul Khayal, whereas our session today was to, inform our participants what is the reality of this debate every year between types of fasting and etc. etc. Right? Yeah. ये क्या है? मौला मेहरबान हजरत बहरुल साहिब
हजरती बहरुल साहिब और आपको उम्र दराज़ी नसीब करे। आमीन कुर्बान जिसकी भी है ये प्रेयर।
जी गुलबहार शाह की है। अच्छा, where can I find Khangi Farmans? If anybody has access to the Khangi Farmans, Maha Suleiman is requesting this, yeah? Maha, just go online. I'm sure that you will find them, yeah? Everything is, because this is the time of technology, yes? Everything is online. You should try there first, okay? All right, we've had a good half hour. Okay, yes, Riaz, I'll ask the administrators to share that Ginan with you about fasting, yeah? Okay. Yes. Okay, everybody. Thank you very much for your interest and discussion and contribution as well. It shows that we are all thinking people. We are all concerned about the lack of knowledge. Inshallah, the next step is how can we somehow share this knowledge with our spiritual brothers and sisters, okay? All right. Thank you very much, everybody.
يا علي مدد
Ya Ali Madad.
يا علي مدد يا علي
Yali
مدد
Madan
يا
Sahib,
علي
Yali
Mother,
Madan
مدد
Sahib,
Sahib.
Yali Madan.
Yali Mother.
Yani Madad.
Ya Ali Madad.
Ya Ali Madad.
Thank you,
Ya
Nyali.
Ali Madad. Ali Madad.
Him. Monday Sidekick. AI is easy. Just say what you need and it's done. Well, I gotta have spare time. Monday.com is a whole